Welcome on into the Josh Reese Show. I am your host, Josh Reese, and this video is going to be giving the latest on Carmelo Anthony. No, he is still not a Houston Rocket. No, he is still not free from the New York Knickerbockers. But you know what? We do have some new information, so we might as well do an update video. And we'll do another video, of course, when there is more update, because this seems to be ever going and forever lasting. But before we get into the video, please follow my friends over at Countryside Massage. Pause this video. Take 2 seconds to give them a like on Facebook. Just click the box, click the description box, and in the box, I'll have a link to their Facebook page. Just give them a like. That's all I'm asking. I would appreciate it. They're supporters of mine, and I am supporters of the great work they do in Conroe. So, Carmelo Anthony. Still not a Houston Rocket. Still not free from the New York Knicks. So, why are we doing this video? What new information is there, Josh? Well, I'll tell you. The New York Knicks had a press conference a couple days ago where they introduced their new GM, and Steve Mills kind of was talking about everything from Carmelo Anthony and the new direction that they are going. And in this press conference, yes, I listened to the entire 40 minutes because I'm a loser and I have nothing else better to do. But in this 40 minutes, Steve Mills mentioned that there is a new direction for the Knicks. And he mentioned pretty much every player on the New York Knicks roster except for Carmelo Anthony. Although in the same press conference, he also mentioned that he still sees Carmelo Anthony as a part of this team. And whether or not he is still on this team, they're going to be focusing on a youth movement, focusing on incorporating the younger talent, focusing on rebuilding was the word used over and over during the press conference. So, New York Knicks are heading in a different direction, and Carmelo Anthony certainly does not seem to be in that direction. So, other new news item I should bring up. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski did report that Carmelo Anthony, let me get it exactly right. So there we go. Carmelo Anthony is done. He wants out. Apparently, he doesn't need to be told. He doesn't need to be talked to or tried to get brought back into the franchise. He has nothing else he wants to do with the New York Knicks. Kind of hard not to imagine that being Carmelo Anthony's stance. I was listening to a podcast recently with Bill Simmons. He was talking with Jimmy Butler. Apparently him and Melo are pretty close, and he predicted that Melo will not be on the New York Knicks starting the season. Of course, he didn't mention where he's going to go, but it just seems that there's so much noise, so much talk, so much everything about Carmelo Anthony is done. He wants out. He wants to get the hell away from the New York Knicks franchise. They're toxic. That's my words, not his words. They seem like a toxic organization. James Dolan does not seem like the most, the best person on the entire planet of Earth. So that is what I have from the press conference of Wojnarowski. So now I'm going to be getting into some of the stories that I've been reading today on Tuesday. This was a tweet from Stephen Bondi of the New York Daily News. During this press conference, Steve Mills was asked about buying out Carmelo Anthony. It might have been by Bondi himself, and Mills straight up said no. But Bondi also followed up in the tweet and says while he said no, there's still that option, and he does not see that that not being a plan for the Knicks if they can't facilitate a trade. That's still an option, even though Steve Mills said no. It's still out there. It's still an option. Also, Mark Berman of the New York Post, not Houston's Mark Berman, he is reporting that talks between the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets have not restarted. And in that same story, he also mentioned that the deal could take up until the start of training camp as they continue to try and rebuild Carmelo Anthony's trade value. So it's I'm at cross purposes here. I don't understand what the Knicks are hoping to achieve. I understand what they want. They want equal talent for Carmelo Anthony, but it's super hard to do. You're not going to find, like for instance, Jimmy Butler was not going to be traded to the New York Knicks for Carmelo Anthony. That deal wasn't going to happen. You're just not going to get the same level talent, especially with Carmelo Anthony's age. He's 32. He's under contract for 2 more massive seasons. It's a huge roll of the dice for whatever team picks him up. Sure, he's still going to be good next year, but or this upcoming season. But what about next year when you're owing him still another gigantic payment? Is he still going to be the same Carmelo Anthony? Likely, but it's tough to do. It's tough to give that much money to an aging player like that. Carmelo Anthony is great, but he's no LeBron James. There's a big difference between the two. One of the other things, I didn't get the exact source. I can't figure out where I saw this from, but the reports are Les Alexander is still very, very interested in bringing Carmelo Anthony into the fold, despite him being, wanting out and, is going to be trading the Houston Rockets. And I can see that from Les's point. You're going to bring in another guy, makes $20 million or whatever, but you're going to be getting a fat-ass paycheck pretty soon, and it possibly could make the Houston Rockets more valuable as well. So, I can see Les Alexander still continuing to try to improve the team. And I believe Tad Brown said during the press conference where they announced that the Houston Rockets were up for sale that this was not going to change anything going forward for Daryl Morey. His edict is still to go out there and to try to improve the team. So I don't see this as being a detractor on just that front. The biggest hurdle is the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are the only person that's holding this up. If it was up to Carmelo Anthony, if it was up to the Houston Rockets, it would be a done deal. But the New York Knicks are having a hard time swallowing the pill that they're not going to get very much in return for Carmelo Anthony. And holding out until training camp, I don't expect the Houston Rockets to go, you know what? Fine, we'll throw in Clint Capella. Just trade us Carmelo Anthony. I think the Houston Rockets are going to be content if they cannot get a deal done with just Ryan Anderson. I don't see them incorporating Trevor REESE into a trade. I don't see them incorporating Eric Gordon in a trade. The most I see them giving up is a couple second-round picks. I think the Rockets, especially after sending out a first-round pick just recently to the Los Angeles Clippers, I think they want to keep their next first-round pick. I think the next one they can give up is in 2020, I think so, or 2019. One of those 2 years. I don't see the Rockets giving up a first-round pick for Melo. If anything, a couple back-to-back second-round picks in two consecutive years. So if that's what the haggle is with the New York Knicks, trying to get a couple extra second-round picks, sure, send them on over to New York. But that's pretty much it. I really don't see what the Knicks are trying to gain by keeping Carmelo Anthony on the roster. He does not want to be there. He's only going to be disgruntled. I'm sure he'll be a professional about it and everything, but it's only going to continue to get ugly. The longer this takes, eventually Carmelo Anthony is going to come out and start blasting the franchise, I would imagine. If it was me, if I'm a player and I don't want to be there, I probably wouldn't be as professional. I would probably be blasting the place. Carmelo Anthony, maybe he's a better person than I am. Maybe he's a better person than all of us together. So that's pretty much it. All I have on the update for Carmelo Anthony. The once out, there is no chance in him coming back to the Knicks a happy person. Yes, the Knicks can force him to play. They can force him to not trade him, but he wants no part of the New York Knicks, per Wojnarowski. So that's all I got, guys. I appreciate you for giving this a watch. Hopefully it's giving you a little bit of an update. Maybe there's some things that you haven't been able to figure out on Twitter and social media. Hopefully this was a little bit insightful for you. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. A like, I would appreciate it. Also, if you could share this with any other Rockets or New York Knicks fans out there. Because, hey, you know what? Carmelo Anthony, it's not just a Rocket story. It's also a Knicks story. Knicks fans as well want this, I'm sure, sorted out as soon as possible. Hey, either Carmelo Anthony is on our team or we're getting a new player. Pick a side. Figure it out. One of the other things that they mentioned in the press conference, Steve Mills said that there is no timetable for deciding when they're, going to shit or get off the pot, essentially. So who knows? Maybe Mark Berman was right. This is going to take all the way up until training camp. Maybe it's going to be done this week. We are yet to figure out exactly what the New York Knicks are thinking. They definitely are a very, very interesting organization. And if anything can happen, it'll certainly happen in New York. So with that being said, please give my friends over at Countryside Massage a follow on Facebook. I would appreciate it. They are linked in the description below. If this is your first time viewing my YouTube channel and you've never seen it before, please subscribe to it and hit the alert button. I always have videos coming out quite frequently. Whenever I'm at a place and I have good internet access, I'm always trying to upload a video. So I always try to give y'all guys content. And if you are on Twitter and you're not subscribed to or not following me on Twitter, let me get my words out here correctly. Please follow me on Twitter at Mr. Joshua. And lastly, leave me a comment. Let me know how frustrated you are that this is not resolved yet. Do you feel that this is going to be a quick resolution? Do you see this getting done in the next couple weeks? Do you see it lasting until training camp? That's what I want to know from you. Let me know what you think about the length of this, and let me know how it's making you feel. I would appreciate that. With that being said, guys, I'm going to bounce it out of here. I appreciate you for giving this video a watch, and we'll be back sometime soon with more melodrama.